Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our ASAP broker transition webinar. We're glad that everyone could join us. Please mute if you could all make sure that you stay muted during this webinar and the call. We will have a Q&A session for questions, so if you can save them until after the call, or if you would like to go ahead and put them in chat, we can take a look at those as they come in. And the key discussions points from today's webinar will be shared in our newsletter that will be sent out sometime this week. At this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Bill Toth, who is our Director of Implementation and Support for the ASAP team. Bill, the floor is yours.
Fantastic. Thank you, Julie. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. We truly appreciate the support and the cooperation that we've had with the community here. I think it's a great thing overall what we're doing, just in terms of the automation of the alarms and public safety. I think it's a huge win for everybody, life savings, all that great stuff. So my name is Bill Toth, Director of Implementation and Support for the ASAP team. My background is in public safety technology. I've actually been in the industry for 28 years now. Absolutely great experiences. My background includes development, customer support, project management. I've spent years in ECCs, integrating computer-aided dispatch and telephony systems for emergency dispatch. Truly has been a great experience. So again, never actually sat in a chair. I know a lot of you have had experiences or know people who have done it. I have great respect for those who have done it. I've seen it in action, and being able to continue to contribute to the support of the technology for those folks. Again, very prideful of that. So good stuff. But enough about me. We're here today to talk about the AWS GovCloud migration. So for those of you who are not aware, Mission Critical Partners has been contracted by the TMA to, amongst other things, develop and upgrade the technology for the current message broker, which is the intermediary software that connects the ECCs and your automation systems. The ASAP message broker essentially processes every alarm and then routes it to the appropriate place. Today, appropriate place being the ECC. Today, all of that technology, the intermediary and the network to the ECCs exists in the NLETS network. That technology has served us well over the years, but part of what we're doing today to evolve that technology is both integrate to the existing NLETS traditional path, as well as create new paths for our customers. So the benefit to the ECCs, who, if you've experienced an ASAP project from soup to nuts, typically it's a lot of work to go to the state, get all the details, get what's called an ORI, which is an identification point for the ECC side, and then transition into the network. Once all that's integrated, typically the ASAP team involves the monitoring centers for the address process, the verifications, and then we proceed with the rest of the project. The actual project time for an ECC up to the point where we contact you can sometimes take years, which is just it's a lot of overhead on ECCs, it's a lot of overhead on us, and a lot of things that really occur well prior to getting you guys involved. Our new technology, the AWS broker, not only handle the old network, but will also allow ECCs to take advantage of a direct connect technology, as well as a view technology. So the direct connect will be immaterial to you, but on the CAD side, instead of going through traditional NLETS network, they can actually use the internet to connect to our message broker and then connect to you in a secured manner. That alone will save us months on a traditional ASAP implementation project. So from our perspective, our time savings will allow us to take on greater volume and hopefully get more outreach for each of your customers. The other part of the technology that gets integrated with this is what we call ASAP View. An ASAP View becomes a browser-based viewer for the ASAP interface. So instead of integration into CAD, it actually allows a browser interaction. It does not leverage address technology, but it will allow for sending the information you have directly to the ECC and allowing the traditional process to take place outside of the CAD. So from ECC's perspective, if they don't have a path forward today with their CAD for ASAP, they can leverage ASAP View and still have the interaction and the benefits of the alarm dispatch process through ASAP. They'll also have the ability to communicate as they normally would through their CAD. So it's fairly immaterial to the monitoring centers, and again allows us greater outreach with what we have available today. Now, the process of the transition, which becomes important for the group here today, is actually very straightforward. So we've launched our new platform, AWS. We've begun testing with partners, and we're at the point now where we're ready to bring on the rest of the monitoring centers through your automation onto the new platform. The first step will be working with the monitoring centers, getting them transitioned. Once you're on our new AWS platform, we'll still continue to use the old message broker, but again, that'll be kind of immaterial to you. So we're essentially swinging your connection today from the NLET's traditional message broker to the ASW platform. It's really as simple as repointing and testing. From our perspective, we'll be sending as a follow-up. You'll see it here in a few slides. It'll be a link for you to sign up. You click on the link, you can pick a week. There are currently 5 slots per week. And you can basically pick the week that you want to go through your testing and transition. As we progress, our goal is to have everybody transitioned over by the end of Q4. Our plan today allows us to be a little more advantageous with that, but we'll certainly work with you guys because we understand we need to be flexible as well as you guys with your automation integration. But essentially, once we have you swung over, you will then have the ability to integrate with any of the 3 technologies, the NLET's traditional, the direct, or the view. So as we bring on ECCs to the new platform, you'll have the ability to integrate with them just as soon as you're on the new platform. What we would urge you to do as we're going through that process is reach out to your automation vendor, your service provider, or if you have in-house ability to go through that, set up some time, let us know. We'd love to take a call and kind of walk you guys through that process. From our perspective, it is really leveraging your existing platform, your existing security certs, repointing the URL to the new broker, hopefully in a test environment ahead of time. Once we go through the testing of the test environment, then we'll work with you on your production system to swing that over. The process itself takes no more than a few hours. We typically stretch it over a few days just to give it some time and testing in between. But really, it should not be a lot of overhead on you. And as soon as you're swung over, you get to, again, have all the great benefits that the new broker brings. So in a nutshell, that's the process. Not a lot of overhead. And we are engaged with you, our ASAP implementation team, every step of the way. So if you're ready to go, we'll schedule a time. We'll walk you through it. If you're not quite sure and you want to work with your service provider or IT staff, we can do that ahead of time as well. And as part of the newsletter that Julie mentioned earlier, we'll give you some of those prerequisites so that you can plan your time accordingly. From once you're on the new platform, the change to your monitoring center, there's no change to the integration. So everything that we've developed with our new message broker is the same interface for the monitoring center, and then the interface for the CAD can be the same and will evolve with the same standard, just a different connection for our direct connect. So not a lot of overhead for anybody to really deal with. The transition, again, fairly straightforward. So not much to expect. On the back end of that, again, you now have the ability to take in all the ECC connection types. In terms of auditing, I know I've worked with some of you folks, Jason and Justin and team have worked with you folks on some of the auditing for records, some of the keep alive and things of that nature. We have that actually better access now, better reporting, a little bit more involved reporting opportunity for us to provide you with any auditing that you need and the reports that you need. On top of that, we have an involved spec, which ties into the ECCs, which then allows for keep alives and things of that nature. With the new broker, we can actually monitor all the connections, which has been a little bit of a challenge in the past. I know some teams have been creative in ways that they're monitoring connections. We now have that ability to do that proactively. So if we see a connection issue, we'll report it, broadcast it out, and have everybody move to the traditional call-in method until, again, we can remediate the situation and let you know about that. There's also a plethora of other built-in, again, opportunities for us to better monitor, better work with you guys, which really, again, from a support perspective, saves us a ton of time and effort, and you guys all get the benefit of that. Timeline. So our goal is to really kick this off in the next few weeks. We currently have a plan for the week of the 22nd. So for those of you who are just completing integration or have the ability to kind of handle this sooner rather than later, we'd love to get involved with you now. Again, feel free after this meeting, when you receive the newsletter, or if you want to copy the link down now when we present it, to go ahead and sign up. And if you have any questions, at the end of this slide, we'll have email addresses for our support team. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. If it's just a question, we can handle it over email. Or if you want to talk it through with yourselves, with your automation vendor, or any other service provider, again, just reach out. We're more than happy to take the time and walk everybody through the process so that you can be fully prepared. So again, we're planning on the week of the 22nd of September, kicking off this process, and then having it completed by the end of Q4. Sooner rather than later, from our perspective, it really gets you the benefit up front. Just so everybody is aware, on the ECC side, as this platform is stood up, we're working with a number of ECCs to work through our new View product and the Direct Connect product. So again, if you're on the old broker, not switched over, you're not going to have the benefit of that until we get you through this process. So the last piece from my perspective really is, how to prepare for the testing and the cutover. We would absolutely recommend that we start with a test environment. We go through we switch the URLs. We go through the testing, functionality testing like you normally would with a cutover, just a lot more condensed from my perspective. We'll test your verifications, test the general functionality. And if you're good to go, then we'll schedule the cutover for the production system. Some of the issues that we've run into so far with our process and our testing typically relate back to expired certs, misconnections in the past, issues that have existed resident in the test environment that weren't identified prior. So sometimes when we go through that testing, there can be a few risks there that we just don't know about ahead of time. We won't know until we get into the testing, but we are fully prepared to work with you and through those issues for a successful cutover. So from our perspective, again, anything we can do to help you get prepped, help you get confident, answer any questions, we are here for you.
Bill, we have Rose. If you would like to unmute now, she has her hand raised.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
I just wanted to make sure I understood this. If we, our monitoring station platform is Mastermind, there should be no change to that. It's just whatever connection we have to communicate with you through that we would have to adjust, correct?
Yeah, great question, Rose, and absolutely. So there will be no upgrades required for MAS, no changes required for MAS other than what's the URL, so that the web address that they have pointing to the transmission and the receive connections to ASAP. So it should really be two sections with just one provisioning change in each. But again, no code changes. It should not be hard coded. It should be a dynamic field that they enter. They make those changes and then they're pointed to the new broker.
Got it. Thank you.
And that being said, again, thank you for asking, Rose. The other thing that you may or may not need to plan for is firewall changes. So depending on what level of security you have set up on your firewall, you may need to go through and whitelist the new URL, which is basically just allowing that URL to pass through the firewall for your ASAP connection.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Next, we move into scheduling. Here's the URL. Again, we will send this out in the newsletter. We'll provide you with an overview of everything we talked about today, and then open up the opportunity to begin conversations or anything else you need along those lines. And as much as I'm enjoying talking to you guys, it's really that easy. That's the crux of what we're here to talk through today. So, I guess from my perspective, I'd love to open up the floor, Julie, to Q&A. Please, everybody, ask any questions you have. Let's talk.
Yep, anyone has any questions, either raise your hand or go ahead and unmute, and we'll give you some time to ask any questions for verifications or processes here.
Hi, it's Tanya with ADT. I have a quick question.
Hey, Tanya.
Hey, the URLs, is that provided to us once we select a date for testing with our test environments?
Yep. Yes, we will. Once we set up a date, we'll be in contact with the cheat sheet for the provisioning. And again, if we can work with you, Tanya, we can work directly with your automation vendor, however you wish to proceed through that.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I will speak up one more time. This is Rose again. One of the comments you made when talking about the application, I want to make sure I understood this correctly, as far as that it didn't need to that it worked outside of the CAD system for the PSAPs. Did I understand that correctly as far as how it's getting there? Because everything that I've dealt with as far as making sure addresses match between both applications and whatever way we do that, I thought that was the primary reason for the for that process, that pre-screening process. Does that slightly change with the integration, that it won't be as difficult?
So pertaining to the difficulty, the process itself for address verifications do not necessarily change with the AWS platform. If you think about what we're doing here in terms of the AWS piece itself, it's just truly the conduit for passing those messages. What will occur is once we have everyone on the AWS platform, we have a new product offering for ECCs called ASAP View. That ASAP View product is a service offering which is browser based. So it in itself is not CAD integrated. So the ECCs don't receive all the benefits of being fully CAD integrated, but it does give them a conduit for communicating using ASAP to the monitoring centers and vice versa. So in instances where an ECC is using ASAP View, our browser-based product, there is not a concept of addresses within the browser-based interface. So what will occur is, from our perspective, we will go through a address verification process, which is going to be very light compared to the heavy lift that it normally is for that 100% match. It's very light, and then essentially it should take less than a lot less time. From our perspective, we don't go through the address matching. What we really need to do at the end of the day is go through the address matching so that within your automation system, it identifies those addresses as being valid within that ECC's jurisdiction. And then you'll be able to start sending ASAP requests through that right away. So where traditionally you go through that matching process, it could take, at least a day or two for that matching to occur, and then whatever it takes to update the system, your automation system, to correct those addresses. None of that has to happen with the ASAP View. So that benefit from your perspective will only pertain to customers on the ECC side using the ASAP View platform.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. That helps explain it much better.
Awesome. Thank you for the question.
Bill, we also have a question from Aaron. Will there be development required for the automation platforms to bring Central Station's customers into this new environment?
Awesome. Thank you for that question. From my perspective, traditionally, there should be no development The real change is your pointers today that tell your automation system to connect to ASAP message broker at this URL or this web address. Those need to be pointed to the new platform. And that should be the only real change in your automation system. Now, we recognize that, for the most part, folks have off-the-shelf automation systems, but there are some monitoring centers that have proprietary platforms, and I certainly can't speak to those. But I can tell you from our perspective, it is really just the URL change. After that, the interface is the same. It's still the same standard. The protocol doesn't change. Nothing else has to change on your end. So as long as if those customers who have a proprietary automation system have the ability to change that URL, you're all set.
And he also says that we have been using the SSL certificate search bound for secure connections to the existing brokers. Will this change?
That's another great question. Thank you. So what'll happen is, as we migrate off of the new platform or the old platform onto the new platform, the cert registrations will be migrated as well. So we'll continue to leverage the existing certs. So no change there. Now, we mentioned earlier that in some cases in our testing, we've run across where some automation, or most hopefully automation systems have a test environment. In some cases, we've found that those certs have expired. Nobody was really, I would say they're asleep at the wheel, right? Nobody really knows it happens until you go to do a test. So when we engage for that test, we found that, it had expired, and then we simply issue you a new cert in the same method we did in the past. But for the purpose of the question, what should occur in most cases, assuming the cert is still valid, it will migrate ours. Actually, we've already migrated ours into our new broker. So you have everything you need today.
This is Tanya again.
Hey, Tanya.
I'm sorry. Rose and I were kind of talking about this, like I'm trying to get my head wrapped around it with the ASAP view, because
Sure.
I think I'm a little concerned. Mastermind requires that an address is validated. We have to actually have that handshake to go out and receive the acceptance for, it was a TMA change many years ago that we had to have an accept for our system to be able to dispatch. So are we still going through an address validation of some sort for all of our customers within a PSAP? Because if we don't have the yes flag within MAS and our Mastermind monitoring, we can't use ASAP.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And again, great question. And thank you again for forward thinking with that. So yes, what occurs today is, as we move to the new message broker, and as we continue to onboard CAD integrated ASAP customers on the ECC side, we'll continue with the same address validation process or verification process. When we have a customer that's using View, the concept of addresses do not exist there, but automation systems, for the most part, do require that flag that says it has been verified before it'll even illuminate the button to send the electronic ASAP dispatch. So what will occur is, once we provide you as the monitoring center with the jurisdiction and the address, boundaries, so to speak, within that, you'll still go through the verification process in terms of flagging it in your automation system and sending it to ASAP. Because those addresses exist within the jurisdiction, but they don't have the ASAP View map component, the ASAP message broker, our new technology, will send back the flag for the addresses that fall within that jurisdiction for you, Tanya. So you'll still follow that same process. You just won't go through all of the address refinement and matching that we normally do on a traditional project.
Okay.
So in theory, it'll send back, yes, it's valid, no, it's not valid, at least a high level, but not to the exact matches, right?
Yeah, it'll be, well, accept and reject. Yes, it will. But it's just not, to your point, it's not looking for 100% match.
So we don't have to do all the legwork we currently do. We could just do a high level list with minimal review of our site data ahead of time
That's
versus
correct.
the hours and hours that the big PSAPs require.
Yeah, it's that easy for our ASAP view customers only. And, we'll walk you through that as we get there. And, I'm sure we'll have another opportunity to kind of speak to the ASAP view platform as we go. But yeah, I mean, again, forward thinking, that's what it is.
Bill, we have Scott Walker has asked, as for what to expect with the initial calendar meeting. If we need our automation partner, do they need to be available at that time, or is this initial scheduling put in place to set up for the rest of the week?
So our goal was to schedule the interactions for that week. If you have an automation partner and you want to have the conversations ahead of time, you can absolutely contact us. If you want to put the time on the calendar, I ask that we do that for scheduling the testing and the transition. But if you feel we're going to have a consultation ahead of time, maybe not do it the first or second week, and we can schedule those meetings ahead of time, have everything prepped. I think the first consultation should absolutely be with your automation vendor if they're your service provider for your automation system, so that we have all the right people really kind of out of the gate to do all that prep and planning for. Because in some cases, if you schedule it, let's say for the week of the 22nd, and then we get the monitoring, your automation partner on the phone and find out that they don't have the bandwidth to support that week, we have to do it down the road. That's perfectly fine, but the sooner we know, the better, just in terms of resource planning and of course availability. Because what we don't want to do is, create a log jam and have everybody want the transition on the same week. So I recommend that you do reach out to your automation provider today or, in the near future. Kind of talk through what the plan is. And if they have questions, let's set up a consultation. And then we can schedule your time accordingly. If you have what you need today and you feel comfortable, please do go ahead and schedule your time. What'll happen though, again, if we do lose a week because we become saturated in the schedule, we'll have to be ask that you be a little more flexible with the schedule, and we'll work that out with you and your automation provider.
And Aaron Bertling has asked, thank you. What is the time frame for deprecating the old broker for this new broker in AWS?
So our time frame is just after Q4, so early 2026. We look to decommission. Our process today, again, as the high overview, initially we're connected to the old broker through the new broker. So as you migrate over, we're essentially a broker to the old broker. The next step for us is to migrate off of that old broker, which will become completely just immaterial, or it'll all happen in the background from your perspective, where we decommit. We essentially change the connection in and out from the ECC side on our broker. Versus today going through the old broker, we'll just go directly to NLETS, and then of course we have the direct connect and the web view piece. So the plan for that transition will be towards the end of Q4 from our perspective to move off of the old broker where we're going through NLETS, and then in Q1 we'll be decommissioning the old broker that exists in NLETS today. And I'm sorry if you need more clarification, just let me know.
All right, do we have any other questions, comments for Bill?
Thank you again, everybody, for your time today. I know your time is valuable, so spending it with us is, much appreciated. Hopefully it was informative. And just like anything else, if you guys have any questions, you're kind of mulling over something as a follow-up to this, feel free to reach out to us. I think the best way for, myself is to have you reach out to the help desk link here. That's helpdesk@asap911.org. And then any one of our specialists will reach out to you and, help through whatever you need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we will follow up with details in the newsletter coming out this week.
So have a great day.
Thank you. You too.